So guys, today back from a video on the channel. Today we are here. The Premier League is back today. Premier League's back Friday. It's Burnley versus Man City. I'm uploading this on the day the Premier League comes out. I'm not recording it then, but this is going to be my full Premier League prediction. As you may know, the transfer window doesn't end until the end of August, so I could be judging teams on the players I've got now, but this is quite possibly the hardest thing to do in football. If you're getting 20 out of 20 right, you're an absolute psychopath. If I get at least 4, I'll be absolutely over the moon. I would react to it last year, but I didn't make one. But this year, definitely doing it. I'm going to do my prediction from 20th all up to 1st. Give me reason and why. Anyone who's watching who's not a Newcastle fan, sorry if I don't predict your team where you think they should be. Let us know in the comments if I'm right or wrong. But let's get into it, boys. We'll start off by going at 20th. So 20th, I've got Luton Town. I can see many fans putting them down at the bottom, but for me they haven't made enough signings or good enough signings. I understand they're a very small club, should be nowhere near the Premier League. They were in National League like, what, 8 years ago I think it was. To be in the Premier League now, massive for the club. Do I see them staying up? I don't, unfortunately. If they do, I'll be really happy. I will. Obviously their first home game against Burnley has been postponed because they've got to do work on the stadium. I don't know how good the development is going, but they've signed like Izzy Brown and a couple of other players, but for me, not enough. Next up on the list, I've got Sheffield United. Honestly, it could be either Sheffield United 19th or 20th or Luton Town 19th. Them two clubs, I can't like pick. I think they'll be on very similar points, right down at the bottom. Obviously their main man and Dai, their striker, went to Marseille. An absolute machine in the Championship he was, and then he's left to go to Marseille. And if we look at the signings at the minute, 4 signings, it's not good enough. It really isn't. They signed a centre back from Arsenal, Traore, for 4 million. I've never heard of this left back, and I don't even want to try and pronounce his name, but they've not done enough. They really haven't. I understand it's a hard place to go, Bramall Lane, but I just can't see them staying up this season. 18th spot, the final relegation spot, I've got Wolverhampton Wanderers. The manager is apparently being unsettled and doesn't know whether to leave. They've not done enough in the transfer window. Matt Doherty's came in on a free transfer, and that is it. It's not good enough. They've had a good pre-season. I think they beat a couple of good teams, but for me, you've got to invest in that team with a manager that you've got who's done very well. It was a Slavia, Lopetegui, but they've not done enough in my opinion, and that's why I've got them 18th. 17th now, I've got Bournemouth. I think they'll just survive. I think it's a massive change. Why they sacked Gary Neal, I don't know. He's done a tremendous job keeping them up. They've signed a couple of players, and got a couple of players who are very close to signing for the club, but getting a Spanish manager in that type of environment, I think they'll just survive. But I feel like they'll have a good January transfer window, which will help them. They've got a bit more money in the club now, but it still will be a tough season for Bournemouth, and that's where I've got them in 17th. 16th now, I've got Burnley. I've seen people put Burnley in the top 10. I really can't see it. I really can't. Vincent Kompany, brilliant player. He's done very well in the Championship. His mentality is absolutely brilliant, but can he handle the pressure of the Premier League as a manager? We've seen many managers like Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, who can't have the job at Chelsea, at Everton, obviously at Aston Villa for Steven Gerrard. Obviously Vincent Kompany's coming in, and can he really handle it? One player I really liked was Nathan Tella for them last season, and I don't know what's happening with them. He's playing for Southampton, scored on the weekend. It's a lot of uncertainty on that transfer, but I've signed some good players, but a lot of them players were on loan. I think that Benson from Chelsea, the left back, he was brilliant, but they've got some good players, Burnley, and I think they will survive comfortably, but I think they will drop down the table. I feel like they will be flying at one point in the season, but drag down a little bit, but I feel like they'll be absolutely fine. 15th now, I've got Nottingham Forest. I feel like they signed a lot of players last season, obviously some were on loan like Keylor Navas. How they got them in, I don't know, but now Obviously coming in up to the season, they've only signed 2 players, which is Anina, who was at Fulham and Chelsea, I think, and then Anthony Elanga, who I think who is a good signing, definitely. But I feel like people are going second season syndrome with them. I feel like Morgan Gibbs-White and Brennan Johnson and that togetherness around that team will keep them up. I feel like it'll be a bit more comfortable than last season. I feel like the relegation might not be as tight this season. I could be completely wrong, but last season it was so tight. Honestly, it was tighter than a nun's cunt. Honestly, Nottingham Forest just to survive, 15th. 14th now, I've got Everton. They survived on the last day of the season. It was in their hands. They survived. I feel like 14 could be a bit generous. Could I put Nottingham Forest and Burnley up and put maybe Everton 16th? I've got them 14th, right? That is just, it's me gut just saying, yes, they're going to be down there, but they might just have a couple of good games. McNeil's a good player, obviously under Dyche as well, a full season with him. Signed Dan Juma, Ashley Young. Who knows what's going to happen. They should not go down with players like Dan Juma and the team. They need an out-and-out striker though. That is the thing for Everton. They need a man to come in and score goals. Dan Juma's not that player. They need a goal scorer. Calvert-Lewin was that a couple of seasons ago. He's completely not that now. They need someone who's going to bang the goals in. So Everton fans, let us know. Crystal Palace now. This is all going off the squad they've got now, and I've got them in 13th. The reason being, Elise is still there, Eze is still there, and they've signed a very good Brazilian youngster in Matheus Franca. Jefferson Lerman, I think, is a good signing as well, but they're the only 2 signings they've made at the minute. I think obviously losing Zaha is the big one. He was their goal scorer for years, and losing him is a shame obviously for Crystal Palace fans, but if they can keep Eze and keep Elise comfortable, if not, I can see them being right down there. Roy Hodgson said as manager, he knows Crystal Palace like the back of his hand, should keep them up. I've got them in 13th. 12th, I've got West Ham. Looking at it now, I think they should be lower in the table, but I really don't know. They've got Europa League football yet again after winning the conference, but they've not signed one player as we from when I'm speaking. Declan Rice, obviously the star man at West Ham, is obviously now at Arsenal. I don't know why I've got them 12. I really don't. Obviously Smaka's leaving, and that's really West Ham have done now. They need to be getting players at the door. And looking at it now, it could look like a stupid prediction, or I've fucking absolutely played it. But who knows? They could be like the Wolves and get relegated. It's like the big team, like the Newcastle when they got relegated, Aston Villa when they got relegated. It could be West Ham. I would like to see it, but they're in Europe. They need to sign some players. They really, really do. They need to invest in that team a lot. I think the midfield is where they need to improve the most. Obviously losing Rice and Souček's not the best, and other players, but I've got them in 12. That prediction will be absolutely amazing, or it's going to fuck my whole prediction up at the end of the season. 11th now, I've got Brentford, a very good run club. Really like Brentford. They've signed some good players. Obviously they haven't got Ivan Toney until January, but I like the signings they've made from Freiburg, the goalkeeper Flacken, and then Kevin Schrade, however you pronounce that. He was on loan there last season, signed for 22 million. Can he sign? And Nathan Collins from Wolves, 23 million. They've spent money, and they have, but are they going to have a goal scorer? Who knows? Is Mbeumo going to be the main man up top? We'll have to wait and see. They were linked with like Brennan Johnson towards the start of the transfer window, but they do need a striker until January pretty much. 10th now, I've got Fulham. It's a bit like the West Ham one. It's either they're going to have a really good season and predict where I've said, or they're going to have a really shit season and be down in the dumps. They've made some nice signings though. Basically from Ajax, played at Rangers. He is an animal. Raul Jimenez, a decent player, but that is it so far. All the news at the minute is with Alexander Mitrovic. Will he be going to Saudi or not? He was on the bench for the friendly against Hoffenheim, I think it was, but it's a shit situation. He's already said that he's not going to play another game for Fulham, but if Fulham don't sell him, is he really going to sit on the bench every week for fans that have supported him for the last, well, since 2018? It's a tricky one, it is, but you've got to deal with that. No player's bigger than a football club, and if I was Fulham, I would not play him, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure they will make some more signings. I'm sure there's a link with a couple of players who are ready to get announced, but yeah, 10th. 9th now, I've got Brighton. The reason being, I feel like they will focus on the Europa League, and I can see them doing really, really well. They're a really good team. Obviously, we beat them last season 4-1, Newcastle, but they are a really good team. The signings as well, I'm very impressed. I really, really am. James Milner, experienced lad in the dressing room, knows Adam Lallana really well. I feel like that's a really good signing. Same with Dahoud from Dortmund, really, really good signing, good midfielder, brilliant to rotate playing the Premier Europa League. He will play most games. The goalkeeper, Verbruggen, I've butchered that, like, from Anderlecht, 15 million, and they're saying Ago from Fiorentina. Good business. 9th, I think Brighton will be happy with that. And 8th now, I've got Aston Villa. Like Brighton, I think they'll focus on that Conference League, and I can see them having a run like West Ham. If they were in the Conference League and the business that they've done, absolutely get them high up in the table. Moussa Diaby is an unbelievable signing. Someone I'd love at the two, and he looked phenomenal in the summer series and for friendlies for Aston Villa. They've had a really good pre-season. John McGinn's looked brilliant. More players as well, like Douglas Luiz, what a player he is. Really, really good team. Unai Emery's doing an amazing job. Aston Villa 8th. In 7th now, could easily had them in 8th, but from the fact that we know Tottenham Hotspur, when saying this, Harry Kane is still a Tottenham player, and that's what I'm going off. If they lose Harry Kane, I could see them coming 9th, 10th. Their team is simply, it's Harry Kane that keeps them, but they've signed a couple of players. James Maddison's the big one, really good player. Obviously, the goalkeeper Vianco, decent player, 16 million. Also got Kulusevski on a permanent deal. Solomon on a free transfer. I didn't know he was a free transfer. I thought the first signing from Fulham, and then a young centre back, Ashley Phillips. But Tottenham, obviously new manager. We'll have to wait and see. They've got to give him a full season, like not like Nuno and Conte. They need to give this manager a full season, because if not, they're going to be in the same rules, same system every year, and they can't deal with that. So Tottenham 7th. Now then, 6th, Chelsea. Double where they finished from last season. They finished 12th after the money they spent. It was a horrible season for them. Graham Potter, Frank Lampard, Tuchel. They had 3 managers that season, but they have cleared the decks in their squad. I think they've got rid of about 12 to 15 players, which is mental. They've signed some decent players as well, and Cuckoo looks brilliant in pre-season. Jackson looks brilliant as well. But even I look at their team, they need players in there, and not the only reason why I've got them as high as I think is because, one, Pochettino, and they've got no sort of competition to get distracted about. They've only got the Prem and the Cups, and that is it. Pochettino coming in, I think he's going to have to rebuild that team a little bit and get the structure back together, what they did lose when Graham Potter and Frank Lampard were in. They had it together when Tuchel was in when they won the Champions League and whatnot. But Chelsea 6th. 5th now, I've got the tune, Newcastle. I'm very happy with 5th. I really, really am. Obviously, having Champions League football this season, as you can just see there, lads, just there. But having Champions League football this season is obviously incredible. I feel like we'll focus on that. If we can get out the groups, I can say us in the Prem, like losing a couple of games or what could happen, but still got a transfer window to come. We've made some good signings. Tonali, Harvey Barnes, Livermore, very, very happy with them. Newcastle United 5th. You do take it, obviously, like not finishing in the top 4 will be a shame, but you take 5th, absolutely, and I'll be very happy with 5th. If I'm wrong, let's see. 4th now, I've got Liverpool overtaking Newcastle from last season. I just feel like, obviously, one day in the Europa League, they could focus on that a bit, but I just feel like they'll have that edge over it. McAllister's a brilliant signing. Obviously, Slobozai's a brilliant signing. So only players have brought at the minute, but their starting 11's really, really, really good. Obviously, they've got rid of the captain Henderson. They've got rid of Fabinho. Obviously, Firmino. I just feel like they'll edge 4th, which is a shame, but I could be wrong. Liverpool could have a shite season, but I've got them in 4th. top 3 now. I still don't know about second and third. Even first, well, I think you can guess who's first, but third, I've got Manchester United. I feel like the recruitment, it's been a bit meh. Mason Mount's not the best. That new striker is not proven. But I feel like under 10-off, they had a good season last season, won a trophy obviously, and got Champions League football back. But it's a weird one. Obviously, I don't know. I can't see Man United dropping down from the top 4 now. But it's unproven on that striker. It really, really is. It's a tough one to call. It really, really is. They've got obviously Rashford, Anthony, Bruno Fernandes. They've got a good squad. Don't get us wrong, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But obviously, new keeper Onana, different from De Gea. Man United third. I think you can guess who's second and first. Second, I have got Arsenal. The reason why I've got them so high, yes, I've got Champions League football back, and it's obviously another competition that gets distracted from the Prem, but they have got an unbelievable bit of squad depth. And yes, it's not like world-class player at every position, but the squad depth that they do have is brilliant. They've got they've got 2 goalkeepers, they've got like 5 reasonable centre-backs, a very good midfield choice. The attacking, you're very happy with. Obviously, they've signed Declan Rice, for fuck's sake, 105 million. They've got to do well this season. They kind of dropped off from last season. They've beat Man City in the Community Shield, but I feel like second. I feel like they will be happy again with second. Will I feel like they'll go for the title? Yes, I do. Not like sitting top of the league, 10 points with 12 games left or something daft like that it was, and bottle it, as people have said. I feel like they will be up there, but not as far away with it. Arsenal second, and that only leaves Manchester City in first. Haaland, Gvardiol, the new signing. Obviously, John Stones is a fucking animal. This squad is brilliant, and I could sit here and name every single player, but I think we all know that they will probably win the Premier League. They won the treble last season. They're a good team. They're a fantastic team. And I can't see anyone else winning the league yet again. Man City to win it. And there we go, boys. That is my Premier League prediction for the 2023-24 season. I will come back to this video at the end of the season and see how badly I've done. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it's not too bad. Let me know your thoughts on my decisions. Put your Premier League predictions in the comment section down below. Let me know where you think everyone will finish. But lads, I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one, and Premier League football is back.